guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me again. Thanks for sticking with the channel. Haven't had a video out in a couple months now. I've just been busy with life. You guys know how that goes. Summer's here, we got the little baby, so it's hard to make videos, but I am still working on the car. And if you do want to follow along more with what's going on a weekly basis with the car, I do have Instagram and I do have a Facebook page as well. Just making YouTube videos takes double the amount of time of anything you're doing. If you guys have made any videos, you kind of know that for sure. But I wanted to give you guys an update because I have been doing some pretty cool stuff that you guys are totally gonna dig. We have a new valve cover and breather tank set up, and we have a brand new carb on there. You guys saw that last drag race video where we did run an 11.1 at 120 miles an hour. So that was nice, but we were on a 750 Holley, and when we dynoed the motor, we were on a 950. That's where we made the most power. But the 950 XP series was difficult to tune for a street strip combo. It was really drag race only, so I needed something in between. So I stepped it up. I picked up an 850 HP series as well. So let's take a look at all that stuff and what's going on under the no hood right now. Okay, here we go. So this is the new look for the motor. Check out those valve covers. We'll talk about the valve cover and the breather tank assembly first. Let's take a look at this. So these are the Mopar Performance. These are the wide body valve covers. These things came out for the W series motors in like the 90s or something like that, I think. And it seems like all the circle track guys have them, and that's where I got them from. Now these things are pretty rare and they fetch a good penny on the internet these days, but they are super trick. So you see them, they look very similar to the standard ones, and these are my old ones off the motor. Remember I had the gold T-handles, and I had these powder coated silver years ago by my buddy. And very nice. Most guys just leave them black or they polish them, but these are the standard ones, and you can see that the bolts run down to a flange area, where the bolts run through, and the whole thing is a lot wider. It makes the motor look a lot bigger. So that was a big hookup by my buddy Brando that hooked me up with those guys. Thanks again, man. And then I had them powder coated to match the same color as the air cleaner lid, so it all looked good. Now we'll talk about the breather tank assembly. So when I stripped them down, I welded in a dash 12 bung, so that way I could run a dash 12 line to this Moroso catch can. And the reason I'm doing that is I find that I used to run a breather on both sides, and after like 2-3 years of racing high revs, they would get saturated and they would start spitting on my headers. I'd have to buy new ones, and I just didn't ever like it. It never looked super clean, and I wanted to do this setup for a while, and I'm so happy with it. It looks so good. I hooked this guy up to a little bracket you can see that I made down there, and I just bolted to the existing head, to the head bolt area that was already on there. And that's just a Moroso catch can. All universal stuff, really cool look. I tried to match the angle of this guy so it all looks super clean. And the other funny thing about these valve covers, I wanted to run a stud instead of a nut because, you know, I got solid roller cam, so I am adjusting my rockers quite a bit, so I got to take those on and off a couple times a year. So I didn't want to run bolts in and out of those nice aluminum heads, so I went with the stud kit, and I tried to buy one, but I couldn't find one, so I actually jumped on McMaster Car and built my own kit using a set of, I think they were like 4.5-inch tall studs, got a nice 12 point on there with a nice washer, and that just set the whole thing off. Totally love this new look. Something a little different. Most guys wouldn't even notice it. They would just walk by, but Mopar guys are gonna be like, whoa, where'd you get those valve covers, man? Oh, looking good. That's that alternator too. I don't know if I've talked about that on the channel, but I switched to a one wire. I deleted the factory regulator on the firewall, and then this has an internal one, so it just runs like one wire. A little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer, get stuff off the firewall. Okay, let's talk about the 850 Holley HP unit. Boom. Okay, so that is an 850 Holley HP. HP Street, I think it's called. So pretty much standard 850 double pumper. It's a little bit of a step up from the 750, no choke, contoured inlet, and it does have all screw-in air bleeds, which was a bonus. So this is a nice tunable, adjustable carb. It's nothing too crazy. The XP, like we saw, was great for the track and the dyno, of course, but getting it onto the street was a difficult challenge, and I've learned a little bit about the XP too, so you know, we might see it back on the car at some point, but I'm really digging this 850. Tuning it has been pretty good. It came with like funny jetting though, because it only has one power valve, but it came with 82, so right away I knew that was gonna have to change. So I have had it out on the street a bunch. I'm tuning it with my wideband in the car. You guys have seen videos on that before. So my current jetting, I think I'm at 78, 86, and that seems pretty good right now. I also did go with a larger air bleed on the idle circuit. Now I did that to get my screws in, or make the adjustment proper, because if you come stock, I could only get them out like a half turn. Put a bigger air bleed in and I could get them out to the proper 1.5 turns, I think is where it's at. And it actually helps my little cruise AFR down the highway a little bit better, which is nice. So currently cruising down the highway, I'm at 3,000 RPM, just slightly on the gas, and we're at like 13.5. So I'm pretty happy with that for a race car. I did a couple other things to it too. I did up the squirter size and put the hollow pins in it. I like doing that, and that just gets rid of that classic Holley bog you get when you slam it. I upgraded the pump cams as well. These things come with the lame pink pump cam, and I have the big fat blue ones in there now, which have always helped me out. Doing all that too, when I was taking it apart, I did do some powder coating. I had the bolt heads powder coated and the pump arms as well, just to black it out a little bit, make it match everything a little bit more. After I took the T-handles off, I wanted to like put a little bit of more black into the whole motor, and it's just gonna keep going that way because black and silver just looks really good. Everything's looking so killer now. So I'm really happy with this HP unit. I still got more tuning to do. I'm down to where I need to wide open throttle it, and it's just a lot of traffic, cops, you know the deal. So I do need to take it back to the track to do that properly, monitor that AFR and make sure I'm happy. But so far she's cruising, she fires up great, and looks killer. Yeah, we should fire it up. Let's fire up. Oh, before we fire up, I'll show you two other things just on the interior. One you've seen before. It's just that AFR gauge I was talking about. There's mine right there. It's on the left. That's just from Autometer. I just got it to match all my other gauges. Absolutely phenomenal. They are the best tuning instruments to come out in the last 20 years. Just puts a bung into your, you put a bung and a sensor into your header collector, and then you can tune your carburetor in real time. Absolutely phenomenal. If you don't run one of these and you're just like using, I guess the vacuum gauge is how you do it, or if you're at the drag strip, you go by mile an hour. But man, this just makes it so much better, so much easier. You can really dial in your carbs, so highly recommend those. If you're buying a brand new carb, that's the way to go for sure. This one's kind of old school. A lot of guys run like a digital one, and you can even get some with like memory, so you can plug into them and then like look back. That would be awesome too. I just got this guy, and then if I want to look at it, I just set a camera up and then floor it and check the footage after that. And I want it to match all my other gauges, so that's why I went with that one. But and then the other thing I'll show you guys real quick too is I just added this. This is really cool, trick little thing. Just a fire extinguisher. I didn't have one in the car before, and I did my own wiring, so definitely need to have one. But the bracket is the trick thing. Bolts to your roll bar from Joe's, and then it's just got a simple pull, and then the whole thing pops right out. Comes out just like that. So really cool, and it looks really good in there. Back in. It's hard to do one hand. A little easier to do with the two hands, but boom, just like that. And it looks good. And then I just got a regular, well, like a all-purpose fire extinguisher to go with it. So a couple little mods, always doing stuff. All right, but that's that. Let's fire up this bad boy. Looks a little dusty, you're right. This morning I was out. We're fitting a fiberglass hood for it right now. You can see we've got pins just mocked up in there. So we do have a full fiberglass Hemi hood coming for it. Well, we'll give you guys an update on that. I've needed to do that for the last 2 years or so. It's coming out real nice, so you guys will be stoked on that. But there she be. Love this. Okay, that's gonna close out this video, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna go for a cruise. Check that AFR. Have a good one. See you soon.